I always wanted to own the Dallas Cowboys.
I'm sorry, Dad. I just find that very cute.
Telegram.
Project Arcturus couldn't have succeeded without you. This will get you a little closer to that dream of yours. It's not the Dallas Cowboys, but it's a start. Drop me a line if you're on the East Coast. Hank Scorpio. Oh, the Denver Broncos!
I think owning the Denver Broncos is pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, explain to me why it isn't.
You just don't understand football, Marge.
Okay, it's the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner. We have Saad Youssef. We have John Machota. We've lost our Deebo Samuel of the crew. We're down one wide receiver, not two. Can't not with us today. We'll make sure that he does his picks though, and we get all that right. Guys, today I want to start off a little broad, and then we'll kind of slowly zoom in towards Sunday as we go to Denver. Do you think collectively the three of us would be able to form in a couple minutes the top 7 teams in the NFC?
Let's see. I mean, obviously Detroit, Green Bay.
Okay, shoe-ins for sure. Detroit, Green Bay.
Philadelphia, no question.
Oh, yeah,
No
Philadelphia.
question.
Rams.
Tampa Bay, Rams.
So that's 6.
Would we put San Francisco in there at this point?
Yes.
San Francisco or Seattle.
Seattle. Seattle. I think Minnesota is still too many question marks, right?
Yeah.
So we'll go Seattle. Okay.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
I've seen San Francisco and a big part of this team still be able to do stuff in January. Like Seattle.
Also,
you count on Darnold to do that, to deliver in that? Did we not see that in Minnesota? This is new? Okay. Because we'll just try this again.
yeah, I like San Francisco for the only reason being that their injuries, they're going to get guys back. However, Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, losing both of them for the season is just so gigantic. But they're going to get a lot of their receivers back. But yeah, I would say that's your 7-8 teams right there, right?
Okay. I'm all right with that. And then this is where, if we left Minnesota out, just for where we're at here, Chicago would have to be over Dallas because they beat us pretty badly. I just thought it was interesting. Like the way that neither one of you guys, I don't think I'm that guy either. I don't think any of us are really hot take guys. I think we're all pretty reasonable people. I think we're pretty rational. But when the Cowboys beat the Jets, lose to the Panthers, and beat Washington, and Washington has 12 teams that have a better record than them in the NFC, it is wild how it shifts from blow this thing up, trade all these people, to could you be wanting to go get Max Crosby? I think it's crazy, but maybe that's just the Jerry Jones factor. I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I do. I think that if you go and make a move for somebody like a Max Crosby, I could get where people would get behind it because, and it has really, for me, it doesn't really have a lot to do with, how are you playing this year? They're going to be in the mix, but Max Crosby, you're getting him for this year, but then you're getting him for the next 2 years. And next year could be the one that you really strike on, because I do not believe that George Pickens will be playing for anybody but the Dallas Cowboys next year. I just do not believe. I know a lot of people are nervous about that in Cowboy land. And fan wise, I mean, I'm not saying inside the building, fan wise, but I expect George Pickens to be on the team. So I think that they're going to run back this offense, and it's going to be one of the top offenses in the league. And so if you tell me that you have Max Crosby on the roster plus whatever they can do in the draft, that's pretty intriguing to me. I'm interested in that. Absolutely. Even if they only had 2 wins right now. But for this season, you get Max Crosby with Marvion Overshown coming back. And then all of a sudden you're just like, wow, this defense could be a lot better than what it is. Now, those guys all got to stay healthy, of course, but a lot of ifs there. But no, I'm interested in that because Max Crosby to me is a good fit for a Dak window. So, and I think Dak's got a window of another 4 to 5 years as long as he stays healthy, maybe longer, he's 32. If he stays healthy, he could probably play into his late 30s. So, it doesn't change it for Max Crosby for me. It could potentially change it on the wins and losses if you're trading for a player on a 1-year deal, like a defensive player like that, where you're like, why would you get this guy just for the rest of this? Well, Hendrickson's probably the best example of that, where you'd be like, well, if you're already this far back of making the playoffs, let's say, they lose at Denver or something like that, and then that's a little bit different. But for Max Crosby, I'm interested regardless.
Yeah, I feel similarly, mostly because I never viewed this year as like a contending window. You're really looking at guys like Overshone and Ravel, all those guys. You're going to have them presumptually like from the start of the season next year, whereas this was always kind of a work in progress thing. The thing that's the thing about this year, I don't know, maybe it's just kind of getting caught in the news cycle of this week, but seeing all the 21-day windows opening up, you kind of start feeling like, okay, like you're coming off a win, you're feeling good, you're getting these reinforcements, the defense look competent, like you can start talking yourself into something more. And I'm not saying that's me. I'm talking about like if management starts looking at it from that way with the trade deadline being when it is, that can be a dangerous thing because I don't view this year as a window. I view the Dak window as a guaranteed 3 years. And then to me, it's like, we'll see what happens after that. Like he's here through the end of this contract. And then we'll see if, what he's demanding at the time, how well he's playing. He's talked about, a change of heart and being able to play into his 40s. I don't know. We'll see how the next 3 years go, but the next 3 years and 2026 and 2027 to me is the true all-in years for the Cowboys.
Let me take this conversation down a side street real quick, and then we can swing around the block and come right back. But just because we're talking about Dak, I tweeted out this thing today from FanDuel. It was just like their top 7 or 8 favorites for MVP. And there's just a lot of Cowboys fans commenting about how like they think it's, blasphemous that Dak isn't one of the top 2 or 3 in MVP odds. And Dak's playing great, but the reason why I'm thinking about this conversation, because we all know now it's not just a quarterback award. I mean, it's not like Jonathan Taylor, as great as he's playing, is anywhere near that conversation, and their team's rolling. But it's probably the quarterback of the top 1, 2, maybe 3 teams in the NFL is probably who your MVP is going to be. But I don't know, it just like made me laugh because I'm just like, this is FanDuel. If you disagree with them, put money on it if you think that they're wrong. This isn't, I didn't tweet out a list that was compiled by Stephen A. Smith, Paul Feinbaum, and Colin Cowherd. Like, this is FanDuel. Put your money on it if you think that they're so wrong. They're like mad that Baker Mayfield is above him and stuff. That's because their team is probably going to be in the playoffs. As we sit here today, you cannot say the Cowboys are probably going to be in the playoffs. And if you're not going to be in the playoffs, it doesn't matter how well your quarterback's playing. That quarterback is not getting MVP. It doesn't matter if it's the best that Dak has played. And I clearly do believe this is the best that Dak has played. This is the most comfortable I think he's looked. This is the best performance-wise of throwing the football I've seen him play. This is the best understanding of what the opponent is trying to do. And in just his everyday demeanor during the week, he just has a calmness to him. And so that I'm not taking anything away from his performance. I'm saying that it's out of his hands. The team around him has to be better for him to have that chance to win that award. Let's not act like that award goes to the best player every year. I mean, It literally every single year would have went to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Aaron Rodgers. And really, it probably did because all of those teams were all good during that run,
Yeah, I mean, it's the last year Joe Burrow thing. I mean, Joe Burrow would have won it last year if we're going by the same standards, but his team was ass.
That's the thing, too. If you take out 2024 and make any excuse you want, here's the first one. He got hurt. B, lame duck coach situation. You take out 2024, it is back-to-back MVP caliber seasons so far for Dak. 1.5 of those, which I think tells the story more of who Dak is than what you saw last year. But just like everyone needs help. So I always get these quarterback conversations can go down a bad path real quick. obviously depending who you're talking to. Because can he win you a Super Bowl? Well, I don't know. Can anyone win you? Yeah, one team gets to win a Super Bowl. So it's tough to figure that out. Every team has some form of weapon. Some have more. There's levels to all of it, and it makes it a hard thing. We do know Dak is really good. And I think people stop at well, he's the highest paid, but whatever. It doesn't matter. That does not matter. Right now, to me, that does not matter. Especially even less when you trade Micah. A move you decided to make for whatever reason, but now you do have room to play. And I just think it's funny how week by week we can go, and a lot of it's because Jerry does 2 interviews a week and sometimes more. The words come out of his mouth, and the George Pickens thing is a little extra fascinating just because it's Micah's agent. But me and Saad the other night kicked around Javonte Williams for a little bit. He's a guy who is not currently on the books for the 2026 Dallas Cowboys. And I think from a roster building perspective, it would make more sense to franchise. Probably you would franchise him maybe if you're going to do that. I don't have a problem franchising a running back. I don't want to sign a running back to a deal. So to me, it'd make more sense to maybe sign George Pickens, franchise Javonte Williams. All that being said, we're going to go to Denver on Sunday, and God knows what's going to happen, and it'll change how you feel about a lot of things. So
on the Max Crosby thing, I would say this. He's the most intriguing potential person I think you could get at this trade deadline. Now, the Raiders have to be willing to make a move. We don't even know that they want to trade him. That goes on every year around this time of just offer that team 5 ones and for their quarterback, whatever. The team also has to be willing to want to part with him. But I'm saying if they were willing to part with Max Crosby for a first and I don't know. I don't see the Cowboys giving up both of the ones that they got from Micah, but let's say they gave up a first and a third. I can really get into that Micah Parsons trade. Yeah. If you tell me that you were getting back Kenny Clark, Max Crosby, and a 1 for basically it would have been Micah and a 3, I can listen to that for sure. No, I still don't love them going to the Packers, but I'd much rather be sending Micah to the Raiders in that scenario, but the Packers
or the week before the season.
Yeah, well, there's that too. But no, actually, if you tell me it's to the Raiders, I could do it 10 minutes before kickoff. I'd be fine with that deal. I would do that for sure.
I'm saying there's also things
you get him out of your division and you send him to Las Vegas and you're just like, have fun.
Yeah, no doubt. But this is where I go back to the wild swing of things.
Or you get him out of your conference, I should say.
A bad loss at Denver, whatever happens, get ran on. That happens. We're going to kick around George Pickens and the Amari Cooper trade. Let's just send George Pickens out and see if someone will give you a 1 back. You think George Pickens?
They got enough 1s. I don't trust. They haven't hit on their 1s in the last, few years like they hit on them maybe the prior 3, 4, 5 years. I'm not really trying to gain a bunch of 1s if I already got an outstanding player who gets along with my other star receiver and my quarterback. Let's not forget that. There's no guarantee that you go, and honestly, because when I think of this, one of the first things I think of is that trade on draft day where the Titans sent A.J. Brown to the Eagles, and basically they traded him for Treylon Burks. And you thought you were getting the next A.J. Brown. You didn't get anything close to the next A.J. Brown. And so there's no guarantee that everything fits. And so with the way things are clicking right now with George Pickens, I don't really have any interest in trading him. I really don't. Now, of course, you're also in your scenario, you're talking about getting back a 1. That would at least make me listen, and I can entertain that. But no one's giving them a 1, even if George Pickens was available. He's not under contract beyond this season, I have no interest in trading George Pickens at all. I'm trying to keep George with Dak and CD for the next 4 or 5 years if I can.
As we record this on Tuesday, October 21st, let's say, and I don't think they're going to go 0-2 in their next 2 games, by the way. But if they did, Monday night's Arizona, and guess what's after that? The day after that is the trade deadline. Buffalo Bills are like, look, man, we need something here to get us over the hump. So it might be picks 29 through 32 for George Pickens. It's an all-in move. Buffalo knows they're going to have to sign him if they want to keep him. You have to say yes to that, right?
You probably do, but I wouldn't.
because it's not as crazy as a thought as it sounds right now. The idea that they do lose 2 in a row is not crazy. The idea that they go 2-0 is not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, already having 2-1s factors in with me in that decision as well. Don't get me wrong.
Stack them, move up, because 2 of those might be really good. 3, I mean,
Yeah.
possibly 3, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really interested in. It has a lot to do with the way Dak is playing and the way that George and CD get along, and how dynamic that group can be together. And then, let's be honest, nobody's winning a Super Bowl or even getting to one by just having a really good defense. That's not. Those days are gone. The rules have changed it. You're not doing that.
Yeah,
You're just not. So your best bet is to have the best possible offense, and then you put in some key pieces on defense so you can make stops here or there, get a turnover here or there. But like having just an absolutely dominant defense is not. It's not even debatable for me. If you tell me I can have the best offense or the best defense, I want the best offense. The only thing is, though, is that I need my defense to at least be middle of the pack. It cannot be the worst defense in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I also, because if you flip it, I don't think that team's winning either. The best defense in the league with the worst offense, where's that team going? You think that team's making the playoffs?
they might make it, but
I don't think so at all.
I mean, and you're basically talking about the Browns to some extent.
yeah, true.
Good
I don't see how. I don't see how you can get to the playoffs without having some offense. So
Yeah.
I'm really not interested in moving on from Pickens. So in your scenario, I'm like, what about Mingo and Tolbert, Buffalo? What do you have about Ryan Flanoy, Buffalo?
I'm not
Holden.
actively.
I can do this all day, Saad. Sorry, go on.
I'm not actively looking to move Pickens either, but KT, in your scenario, I would absolutely do that just because
they would too. You're right.
Yeah, just in that exact scenario where you've gone 0-2, your season is basically over, and now because to be honest, I'm
He's
kind of
one of the few things that's making my job fun right now. So I'd rather not trade him. So I'm being a little selfish here. Believe me, when I see that Trey Wingo, Max Crosby tweet, I was like, man, I know this is just probably him talking to some Raiders people, and there probably aren't any legs to this, but man, that would make the job a lot of fun. So this is true. Here we go.
I think it makes sense to do that. Go ahead, Saad. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just think only because of the business aspect of things, like only because of the fact that I'm saying like, okay, maybe this is maybe more of a Dane Brugler lane. I don't know what the top receivers look like next year or anything like that. But going back to our discussion from a week or two ago, where, all of a sudden, if you have the ammo to move up and get a Tet McMillan, who, can kind of slide in, and now you have that guy with CD and Dak. Now, I don't know if there's a receiver like that. I know Ohio State guy, I think, is coming out in 2027.
Yeah, he's not in this one.
So that,
and honestly, I don't think they'll have the ammo to get him, even if he was in this draft, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, but I agree with John, where I do think you need, if you're going to put $60 million in your quarterback, you need to give him every chance to succeed. And you also can't be fooled by your own roster. You can't be looking at this team right now and act like Jake Ferguson is doing anything on his own, on his own attrition. Like, Jake Ferguson is benefiting big time by what George Pickens is doing and by what CeeDee Lamb brings and all that stuff. With all due respect, I think he's a competent tight end. He's just the next Dalton Schultz for the Cowboys. Like, this isn't you suddenly found Brock Bowers or Travis Kelce Prime or anything like that. So you can't sell yourself on saying like, well, we can get rid of Pickens and now CD's our 1 and Jake Ferguson's our number 2 in the passing option. Like, he's not. So we already saw that last year. He's not. So that's just kind of, I see both sides, but yeah, that's kind of where I would go with it.
Now, ideally you win both the next 2 games and we're feeling really good about things. I would say the way the NFL works, looking at things, 1-1 feels realistic. It feels like a fast way to stay in the middle, which is where you kind of always are, though, by not committing.
Look at the team. It's basically win a game, lose a game, win a game, tie a game. Like, yeah. I mean, 1-1 sounds completely realistic.
Yeah. What do you think about, Max Crosby to me makes a lot of sense. And I don't know, Pete Carroll, did he sign up for a big rebuild in Las Vegas? That's always a very strange situation with Geno and a lot going on there. It does make sense that he would be available and how interested you would be. I mean, we've seen them do this with Amari Cooper.
We've seen Tom Brady chatting it up with Jerry Jones on on multiple occasions.
I think you get real quick on the Pete Carroll thing. I think you bring in Pete. There's no way you bring in Pete looking at that roster going, all right, snap your fingers. You're now the Legion of Boom Seahawks because Pete's here. I think you do it because he's a stabilizer. Like you look at his track record, whether it's at USC or going to Seattle, like he's a solid program guy that the Raiders needed that, and so you build off of what he brings. And if you end up getting hot at the right time and he gets you in the playoffs, hey, that's all the more power to you. But I go back to as much as I know people will roll their eyes at the person who said this quote, but it's one of my favorite quotes. Mike Nolan said in 2020 about how they were changing things in the defense is because when you go into the playoffs, he said at that time, and you have to face like the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, you can't be bringing a knife to a gunfight. Those guys will destroy you. And there's just there's no guns over with the Raiders that would make you think that they're going to be able to hang in the playoffs anyway. So it would be foolish to think that you were bringing in Pete to be the savior of the Raiders. And all of a sudden it's like, okay. And now you go through Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Mahomes and Josh Allen. And honestly, the team that the Cowboys are playing this week, I feel the same way about. Like, hey, Bo Nix can pull some rabbits out of the hat, but you think he's going through that gauntlet? Going to get you guys to the promised land? He might. I just have my doubts about that. So I don't think that having Pete there means that you wouldn't trade Max Crosby. I definitely don't think that. You're going to have to get, I could see them wanting like, okay, give us both those ones you got for Micah Parsons. And I just don't see the Cowboys doing that. And they're like, no, scratch that. You guys keep the Packers ones. We want your ones because we think they're going to be higher.
Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, I love that he's getting thrown in on Twitter packages, like as a sweetener to the trade for Crosby.
When are we going to know? You know what? Just tell us what happened, John. Come on. Just tell us what happened.
Honestly, I don't think that even the organization 100% knows. They're going off of
right?
Trayvon Diggs' story. Yeah, I was around Jerry Jones for about a half hour after the game, both on and lightly off the record portions. And I don't, as much as he said about, I'm telling you, there's no reason Jerry wouldn't say exactly what it was. That's just not Jerry. I just don't think that they know definitively. He's told a story, and I don't know that they 100% believe it. That's what I took from talking to Jerry.
Yeah, Matt Mosley tried. He tried to get it out of Jerry multiple times.
He did.
Did not work.
And even back by the elevators, he tried even harder.
So what's the path forward here? He shows up on Wednesday, and we're recording this on Tuesday night. So you get this, it's probably Wednesday morning, but he just shows up ready to go Wednesday, and he's starting again. And
I don't know if ready to go, like full participant in practice, but he might be like, they might be just part of the walkthrough, and then they bring him in slowly. He is coming back from, they say, a concussion. Concussions are not going to rush you back out there like it's a sprained ankle. So I would say that I think there's a chance he plays Sunday, but I don't think he'll start. I don't think he'll play his full normal amount of plays. But I think that they want him out there as long as he clears protocols.
And look, for the conspiracy theory, because I've seen a lot of it, the conspiracy theories with.
Yeah, and hey, to be honest with you, there should be.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
All parties involved allowed this to happen. You are a prominent player for the Dallas Cowboys. What did you think was going to happen? So I have no time for anybody to be like, leave him alone. This is a personal blah, 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 blah. No, you have to put that stuff out immediately. You have to get out front of this. This is not the local high school football player. This is you're a prominent player for the Dallas Cowboys. Like if you're not going to put something definitive out there, whether it be from his camp or from the Cowboys, you open the door for nothing but speculation.
Yeah, we're going to leave Brittany alone to Trayvon Diggs.
Right.
No, and on top of that, there's a couple things. What you said, John, both parties, we're 1 year removed from the Cowboys placing a defensive tackle on IR and him the next day in the locker room being like, nope, I'm not even hurt. I'm talking about Jordan Phillips with the wrist.
None of us are, I'm sorry, Saad. None of us are professional athletes.
Yeah.
Let's pretend that happened at your house. How could that happen? Let's talk this out seriously, because I've done this with other writers. Other writers that have children have talked about having children, very young age, babies, walking down the stairs, slipping.
Okay.
Yes, that's possible. These people I was talking to, I would not call them athletes, but I can see that possibility. Let's use that as an example. Why wouldn't you just say that?
Yeah.
There's no reason you wouldn't just say that.
Also, you picked the one injury that has absolutely no physical telling marks,
That's true too. Yeah.
Again, like you say,
and if you fell down the stairs, you would have probably some other bumps and bruises and stuff like that. But I'm just saying, like that. Baseball is notorious for this. Okay, it's the Jeff Kent fell off of his car washing it, and you're just like, I'm not even close to being to your level of an athlete, and I cannot imagine falling washing my car. But we're going to go with the story. But those things come out, tripping over the dog, slept weird, things like that. We don't even get one of those. We don't even get the BS. We don't even get the Dez cut his finger on carrots for soup. We're not even getting that. So if you're not getting that, how would you think that there isn't speculation? He's missing a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even when the guys leave to be with their significant others when they're having a baby, they tell us that. When the guys are not at practice because they have a root canal or a migraine or something, they tell us that. Like, there's just not a lot being told here.
Yeah, and the other part is, like, there's, practice hasn't started this week, so we'll see when Trayvon is available and talks. But they're also, like, last year, for example, with the Rico Dowdle situation, when he missed a game late because of an illness, and there was a lot of like, well, how or why is this happening? There was enough conversation off the record, behind the scenes, to where you kind of were able to put it together and you understood where or how this was coming from, even if you can't definitively say something. There's none of that right now. And I think that's part of all the conspiracy theories that get thrown out there, on top of, like I said, it's the one injury. Yeah, sure, you slipped down, hit your head. You didn't hurt your arm. You didn't hurt your knee. You didn't hurt anything where, you're wearing a brace or something. You just got a concussion. I don't know. It's just,
I'm just saying, like, if you did it, if you anything at your home, because keep in mind, it's got to be at his home, because if it happens anywhere else, or there's foul play involved, we're too many days out for a Dallas Cowboy player to be involved in something that a police report isn't coming out or something like that. So I've already dismissed that. So I'm going off of the playing basketball at home, doing something like that, like all of that stuff. Though, if you just say that, though, that would come out with the story. There wouldn't be any, let's hide this. It was like, yeah, he was messing around at the house, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, Joel Zamaya, a pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, allegedly said that he messed up his arm playing Guitar Hero.
I believe it.
So why wouldn't you put it out there if it was something like that,
Yeah.
I mean, just think about like a concussion. Like, you got to hit your head pretty hard for that. Like, I mean, I don't know. You could slip on like a hardwood floor or something for that to happen. But in all those scenarios, they're not anything where you're like, ugh, that's so embarrassing. I better not talk about that. You would say that when you, like, Brian Schottenheimer at the podium that morning would have said, hey, we got a little housekeeping news, guys. Trayvon Diggs is going to be out. He slipped at his home and he was whatever, blah, 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 blah. And we think he's going to be okay, whatever. There was none of that. And that's one thing. Brian's the head coach and he's on a podium. Jerry off to the side, Jerry lives for telling us that. You want to know? I'll just give you some behind the scenes of when Brian told us that. The first thing I said when we got back to the writer's room, no way they told Jerry that, because he was just on the radio. There's no way he would not have shared that on the radio. He loves sharing when he knows any stuff like that. So I'm like, they're literally just finding out right now, because Jerry would have just said that on the radio a half hour ago if he knew. So they're just getting this right now. Jerry loves, he could have been asked about the stock market and he would have worked in there. Oh, by the way, it sounds like we're not going to have Diggs on Sunday.
By the way, there's proof of that, because Jerry is the one who unprompted bashed Diggs's rehab on the draft press conference during draft week. Like, he was the one that he wasn't asked about it. He just kind of went there in terms of taking a shot at Diggs. So there's that. And then the other thing I would say,
Saad, he's kind of sound like that with his Diggs thing on how he's worked into his answer. Now, you as you're transcribing it, you got to get 6 or 7 sentences in, but he's working in there things like, but with the way we played, we know we can play without Diggs now. I'm just like,
Yeah.
I mean, if this is a serious concussion, are you really working that in there like that?
yeah. And I mean, he was even asked, I think, point blank about, did the guys fill in or something? He was like, they weren't playing for Diggs. Like he basically was his sentiment. And so there's that too. But yeah, that's one thing. And then the other thing is you have to look at the track record of the guy. I mean, we're talking about like, to me, I don't even know that I'm really saying something that the public wouldn't know, because even if you're a Cowboys fan that listens to press conferences, just often, Mike Zimmer, his least favorite player was Trayvon Diggs. I feel fairly confident in saying that was the case. And that's just what's on the record, not forget off the record, everything else that we've all heard. And then now with Eberflus, it's kind of been the same thing about the buy-in with the defense and all that.
You don't think they're going fishing together?
No.
I mean, Trayvon, after one of the games a few weeks ago, said this thing about how it was in New York after they beat the Jets. He said something about how something about with the pass rush. He said it's like he compared it to instant grits, because it's quick to make and it doesn't take a lot of time like some other foods. And it was just kind of like a fun quote that he was given or whatever like that. And then that's on a Sunday. We don't get coordinators anymore on Monday. It's a Thursday thing. On Thursday, at the end of an answer, Eberflus worked in something about how he doesn't like grits or something. I was just kind of like, and again, like, I don't know how much you guys have listened to or anything of like an Eberflus press conference, but he works hard not to say anything.
Yeah.
Like he is trying his hardest not to say anything colorful, anything more than just by the book, this, and this, and then get me out of here type thing. So for him to just offer that up, I was just like, well, that's interesting. I mean, yeah.
So that doesn't normally happen. They can't. I mean, this is, so it's going to sound like I'm defending Trayvon, and I'm not. But I didn't like how they handled the offseason workouts, and I know they didn't like the way he handled it the first time. And I didn't like that on the opening day of the press conference that we had to go run him over. Okay, I did not agree with that at all. And the reason I didn't agree with that has nothing to do with how they feel about him. It has more to do with you're the ones who signed him. And I know he hasn't done everything you've wanted him to do, but you have signed him, and it behooves you to at least build him up and see if we can get back to him being a very good cornerback. And to me, it's like almost they didn't have any interest in even trying that, really. Now, I guess giving him snaps and letting him start, I guess, would prove me wrong on that. But I thought they could have done more as an organization to like build him up and try to get that back and salvage what you can remaining in his contract. But that tells you how much they've soured on him and why this is probably his last year here.
Let's also remember, though, I understand that there are some things that Steven has said, but this is far more just like a Micah thing where it's a lot more Jerry than anything else. Like if there's no Jerry, you're not getting a lot of that stuff. Jerry likes to offer this stuff up when he's annoyed by things, and clearly he was annoyed that, hey, he's used to injured players working out the facility, especially his highest paid ones. He wants them around the facility. Obviously, he's he's very fortunate to his franchises in Dallas. A lot of players like being here in the offseason. This is where a lot of players, not just Cowboys, but a lot of other players, Myles Garrett, several other star players that are slipping my mind right now, but they train here in the offseason. This is where they're at. And so he's used to those guys being around. And then when it's one of his highest paid players, that's when he gets frustrated. That's why, I'm going all over the place here, but like the more the time passes, the more I keep going back to Jerry will never admit this. Maybe he will one day, but like, I really think Micah putting out that statement might've been the thing that ended it.
Yeah.
Like to air that stuff out there. And the reason why I'm bringing it up right now, because it's another one of those things that doesn't happen for Jerry, not with star players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like, it might seem like a small thing now, but looking back on it, I haven't completely dismissed that. Where just like, well, we could take this. Okay, you want to go that far with it? All right, well, we're moving on. Like, because I asked Jerry after the game, specifically about with Pickens that, a lot of people are nervous that you're not going to be able to re-sign him because he has the same agent as Micah. And he made it very clear that don't read into the agent part of it, that basically it wasn't going to work out with us and Micah where things had gone, regardless of who the agent was. And so that leaves me to sit there and be like, okay, what did he do that really took it to another level? And that's the thing that clearly stands out. And the thing with Diggs that I keep going back to is that not being around the facility, not rehabbing around with their trainers and being around the star. That's what I keep going back to on that. And when you do things like that are so outside of what Cowboys players normally do, I think that really pisses Jerry off.
Yeah, and I think I think each side, whenever you're doing this whole tug of war game, you're kind of seeing how far you can push the limits. Jerry's doing that, so is Micah. And at some point, you just kind of go over the line. And look, Micah is the first one that's really publicly aired it like that. But Dak was getting spicy last year during training camp. But again, Jerry's not stupid either. Like, he knows Dak in that situation has way more leverage over him in terms of being the starting quarterback. And
it's not in Dak's DNA to have those optics, though. He would never put out a tweet like that. He would never lay on that training table like that. He would never do
no.
You know what I'm saying?
But also, I agree with that. But I'm saying,
you imagine Dak at training camp as a holdout, and he's over with the defensive ends, like doing drills and stuff like that, just messing around because he's like, I don't care, I'm going to stick it to Jerry.
No, I agree with that. But I'm saying before last year's training camp, you would also probably say Dak would never go up to the podium and be as like, loose and stuff about the way, like, he was always very tightened up, robotic in a sense, things like that. But he's kind of pushing the line a little bit, but it was to the point where he didn't go over the line. And also, he just has more room to play with because he's a starting quarterback with a no trade clause and no franchise tag clause in his contract. So he's able to play that game a little bit. And I think Micah just kind of went, all right, fine. Like, this is going to be his game. And that was just over the line because he's a defensive end who Jerry doesn't particularly need. Like, we've talked about this before. Like, there's other players that Jerry believes will fill that void, but the starting quarterback, Jerry's been through the post-Aikman era. He knows what that's going to look like without Dak.
Well, I would just say, though, before things went south with him and Micah, I would argue he was one of Jerry's favorite players, and I do think that Jerry had visions of him being on that roster for a decade. But I just think things got so ugly that it got to a point where it was personal with Jerry. It was like, nah, you're not going to disrespect me like this. We're good.
So we got Denver.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No. This is good. I think it's all good. It's covering all the things people are talking about too. Like, this is all, and look, by the time this pops out Wednesday morning, we'll see. By the time some of you have listened to this, we may have a little more, might have more answers on the Trayvon deal. So again, I want to reiterate, it's going to
be your problem next year, KT.
Tuesday night. You know what? Who could use an outside cornerback right now? Green Bay Packers. That Nate Hobbs signing is not working out well.
I'll be surprised if Trayvon's on board with playing December football in Green Bay. We'll see, though.
Yeah, he might be an 8-game guy these days. One thing, it is kind of funny, though, that's kind of what they need. Same way it's funny that Pittsburgh's like, we need a wide receiver. We need wide receiver help. What are we going to do? So Denver's a weird situation. I don't really know how you guys felt about Denver even going into the year. When you look at what happened to them against the Giants the other day, getting blown out, not scoring until the fourth quarter, but then deciding to put 33 on the board. Very crazy team. I'm not super high on Bo Nix, but he's been able to win some games with the roster that's seemingly pretty deep and has some talent on it. 3-point spread, and we'll do our picks here in a little bit. How are you feeling going into Sunday afternoon, John?
Yeah, I just think I have similar feelings to, I shouldn't go as far as Philadelphia, but I think Denver's a better team right now and they're playing at home. And so I think 3 is about right. I'm going to take Denver. And then also it factors in that I just haven't seen the Cowboys put together like really good back-to-back performances. So they still have to show that. And maybe that will be this game. Maybe there is something that they take from Washington defensively that they can build on and bring it into this game. And certainly if the Giants can do what they were doing to Denver for whatever 3.5 quarters. The Cowboys can certainly do that as well. So I'm not saying that this is a no means like a game where I'm like, oh yeah, double digits, Broncos take care of business. I think the Cowboys have a chance, but if I had to pick between the two, I think that I would take Denver by maybe a field goal or a touchdown. And then I think the Cowboys come back the following week, get a win, and then they're back to 500, basically 4-4-1. So, yeah, I don't think Denver is great by any means. Like, I don't think that they're Kansas City or Philadelphia or Detroit or Buffalo or anyone like that. I don't think they're the Rams, but they're probably whatever in that 10 to 15 range, and they're at home. So, yeah, I give the Broncos an edge.
Yeah, I like the Philly comp because they'll be without Dre Greenlaw, though Greenlaw's not any Jalen Carter, to be clear. But no, I think the Denver defense is very good. I believe in the Denver defense. It's just the offense with Bo Nix and RJ Harvey, J.K. Dobbins, whatever. Like, it's fine. And to be honest, where you're just fine against that Cowboys defense, you could turn out to be a lot better. But I heard the guys on the Dumb Zone talking about this earlier this week, and it's something we saw, just in the way that the game played out against the Commanders. It's interesting what the coin toss is going to look like if the Cowboys win, because I do think if you receive first, if you get the ball first, you're really needing one defensive stop to put the other team on their heels, because you're kind of just assuming you're going to get at minimum a field goal, but probably a touchdown if you're going to get the ball first. If you get one stop and all of a sudden you're going down the field for a 10-0 or 14-0 lead, that can change the game plan for a lot of teams. And I think that's going to be a very interesting thing to kind of monitor. It puts a lot of pressure on the Cowboys offense right off the bat, but I feel very confident in their abilities to do that. But then it puts even more pressure on the Cowboys defense. Like, you almost got to treat that defense like it's fourth quarter final possession. Like, just get that stop and make the entire run game disappear for the other team. And now they're chasing a little bit, and they're feeling the heat of trying to keep up in a shootout. I think that's the biggest key to Cowboys wins now, is just kind of getting out in front and playing from ahead. And I feel like if they're able to do that, they set themselves up nicely.
Denver's also one of only a handful of teams that are still undefeated at home too. So clearly they're playing well there.
Yeah. This is the game that I would vote for the Brandon Aubrey NFL record.
Oh, yeah. Use the elevation for sure.
Yeah.
They've got a ton of sacks, 34 sacks on the year for the defense. They've been getting to the quarterback a little bit. The offense just doesn't move a needle for me at all. And I know Bo Nix is still developing and all that. And you're talking about Cortland Sutton, and then Troy Franklin's going to make some plays. Like, it's not something that terrifies you. I worry about the road thing. And when you can say whatever, you played well, maybe a matchup's allowed you to go play well against Washington. Shoddy and Dan Quinn have a lot of dirt on each other as well, knowing what each other wants to do. Not going to be that easy for the offense on the road. Also, I think the Cowboys have also not proven what you were saying about back-to-back weeks. I need to see them go on the road and play really well too. And opening night in Philly, a little different circumstances.
Oh, New York didn't do anything for you?
I wasn't loving it, Like, where's the big road victory that you can think of going back to the last few years? Where's the big one,
It's the Jets, man. You just don't go into MetLife in the middle of the day.
You do, as long as you have Maris Leofau in there to punch it out.
That's true.
So, yeah, from a picks perspective, Denver -3 for me, too. Saad, you did Denver -3?
Yeah, I'm taking Denver.
All of us go that route. I do want to say, John, you have a lead. 1 game ahead of Kent. You're 2 games ahead of Saad, and then I'm way in the back. Just playing game theory, helping everyone else. I should have picked Cowboys here, actually. I'm not going to change it, though. It's actually
business up front, party in the back.
Hell yeah. Next game I chose for you guys, start with you, Saad. Philly against the Giants, since the Giants just played Denver. Philly 7-point favorites. This game's at home. So there you go. Philly -7.
Yeah, give me the Giants. I like the Giants.
Look at that.
I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles win the game, but 7 is a lot for a Giants team to just put up 32 on Denver's defense. I feel like it can be competitive.
Somebody didn't tell Saad that old Brandon Graham's back.
Yes. Where were you on that one, Jerry? I hope he contributes.
I saw somebody put out a little highlight package from early season Giants things and said it was funny. They said Cam Scatterbo is going to have the best 2-year career in NFL history. I feel like that's
Yeah,
that's a good one. Who's in the running there? Man,
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis. That's a good one. I mean, he got the Madden cover, so that is a good one for sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a quarterback.
Jackson Dart.
Was anybody ever buying in? Was anybody ever as bought in on Jay Cutler as I was early on?
Oh
Tebow?
yeah. I was never bought in on people,
I
but
thought Cutler was going to be really good. I
thought
player
that arm.
wise, personality wise, if I would have known more about that, I wouldn't have picked it. But talent wise, arm talent wise, I thought he was going to be in the league for a long time.
I 100% thought he was the second coming of Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Kent and I both took Giants +7 too, John.
Oh, give me the Eagles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's liking that.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Kent took Green Bay -3 in the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. Packers at Steelers. Have it at 3 right now. So Green Bay -3 for Kent. I took Pittsburgh +3. Go to you, John.
Packers. Micah's rolling right now. What do you have? 3 sacks last game?
He did have 3.
He also got called for a hip drop tackle, which I didn't even think they do anymore. So
he got called for the hip drop, and he clearly did it. Some of those hip drop things, I don't know what they're supposed to do. Like the ones in open space, I think. But
that's why they're not really flagging them anymore, because it's so hard to call them. So now they're officiating it through the fines that the players are getting after, so that they have time to review it, and then they can go back and then they fine the player if they have one. But no, give me the Packers. I mean, they didn't play well and found a way to win. So I think they'll play better in this one.
Robert Mays over on the Athletic Football Show. I was just listening to him and Derek and David Hellman just kind of talk through some of these games. And one thing he says, he found the stat that shows why Green Bay is so annoying right now. Because right now, I think Detroit's better than Green Bay, even though Green Bay beat them in week 2 or whatever.
If Detroit's healthy, like if a healthy, like if you go down, let's say you made every single roster in the NFL, everybody's healthy. It's not even in question. The Lions are the best team in the NFL. It's not even up for debate. It really isn't. Everybody forgets. Everyone forgets about things like Aleem McNeil. He was supposed to play 20 plays last night. He plays 44. He's by far their best defensive tackle. And their defense immediately looks like it's night and day better with a bunch of guys just completely off the streets in the secondary. Like it really, last night really hammers home to me. Like, don't get me wrong, you want good defensive backs, but give me the guys up front all day long because of what they do. I mean, I don't know if this is the last time Baker Mayfield has looked that rattled.
Yeah, true.
And I'm not even talking about the whole he didn't have Evans and Ibuka isn't. No, I'm talking about wide open passes and stuff that he was missing. He looked rattled.
Kansas City, though.
Yeah, I'm not completely healthy. Nah.
With Rice back?
Yeah.
I would take Kansas City over.
There's just a lot of players that didn't even play for the Lions in that Kansas City game.
Yeah.
They don't have any of their secondary. They didn't have Aleem McNeil in that game.
Yeah. I think the Lions might have the better roster, but I'd still pick the Chiefs to win in a game because I just feel that way about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah. No, I'm not saying that. I should walk that back. I don't mean like that they would clearly walk away and win the Super Bowl. I'm saying to me they clearly have the roster where I'm saying you take the team names away and I just have all the rosters in front of me to evaluate. That's the one I want.
Yeah.
The stat I was mentioning from the Athletic Football Show that Robert Mays had was Green Bay's first in the league on 3rd and 6 and up. but 24th in the league on 3rd and 5 and shorter, which it is a lot of just kind of screwing around. This is a lot of playing with the food a little bit. You know how it goes. Saad.
Yeah,
Green Bay,
give me Pittsburgh. And if Aaron Rodgers wins the game, then he joins Tom Brady, Drew Brees, and Peyton Manning and Brett Favre on the all 32 list.
How many points we getting on this? I'm taking Packers. What is that? Minus what?
3.
Okay.
You okay with that?
I am.
Yeah.
Leave it there.
I'd still take the Packers at 6. I don't think I would go 7, though.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go 7 either. They're doing a lot of messing around.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Is there anything else we need to hit here before we get to it?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's been annoying me lately that I want to get off my chest here. Hold
What
on.
about Kenny Clark playing?
Yeah.
Kind of dodged any big injuries the other day.
Yeah,
It was like,
the way he left and went to the injury tent and the way that Kenneth Murray left, I thought that those might be a potential miss a game guys, but no, not the case at all. Ankle for Murray came back, and he was fine, moving around fine yesterday when I saw him. And then Clark said he was fine after the game. And then, obviously you have to get imaging and stuff like that the following day. And then after all that happened yesterday afternoon, Schottenheimer said he's fine. So I think it'll be one of those deals where he has a pretty notable brace on the elbow, probably for the duration of the season,
Mhm.
But yeah, no, he should be good to go. I think the only other thing I was going to add is that just because we hadn't mentioned it, I think most people probably know by now, but they're opening those 21-day windows, practice window for return for DeMarvion Overshown, for Cooper Beebe, and for Savon Ravel. I'm not as confident about the return date on Ravel. I just think there's still a lot of question marks there. But with Beebe and Overshown, the target is that right after the bye. So that would be that Monday night game. I think it's week 11 in Las Vegas against the Raiders. So that's when Max Crosby goes against his old team. So it'll be interesting to see where that's at, because Overshown has to ramp up in terms of doing football stuff now. He was doing a lot of cord work, a lot of conditioning stuff out of the side. And now he's got to get into where when he hits that field, people are going to expect him to be the savior of the defense, and
Yeah.
you got to manage expectations, I do think he's going to be great leadership wise, and the energy he brings. I do think he's going to be great for the defense, but you got to remember, the guy didn't go through a training camp, and he's coming back, week 11. So there's going to be some rust,
Yeah, the only thing I'd add is, I know I mentioned the Brandon Aubrey field goal record type thing, but in all reality, I'm very interested to see how the Brandon Aubrey factor plays in on these end of half situations, because he just gives you so much confidence where, you take a sack on your first play and you feel like all you got to do is get to the 50 to have a chance. And in the middle of that, if you break off a big Javonte Williams run, now you can score a touchdown. But you just always feel, and in this game, I feel like if you even give Dallas 20 seconds, 30 seconds with a timeout or two, I think they're going to go for it. And I think they have a solid chance. So it's going to be very interesting if Denver has the ball late, how they choose to approach that. Are they going to try to have the last play of the half? And are you going to mess around and mess up a touchdown opportunity and have to end up settling for a field goal? I don't know, but the Aubrey factor for the end of half is, I think, always fascinating, but especially in a game where he might be able to hit from 70.
No, that's a great point, because I think that's a part of sports, especially at the professional level, that is overlooked, and that's the confidence that you get. And there's no question that the Cowboys offense plays with a ton of confidence in the scenario that Saad just said, where it is really man, we only got to get to 50. We don't have to be pressing. If I don't hit this check down right now, we're not going to get the 40 yards we need or whatever. It's you play with a ton of confidence. I mean, honestly, it goes back to what I said yesterday about having Aleem McNeil back out there. It allows Tyrus Wheat to get a sack. Al-Qadim Muhammad is playing great. I mean, these are guys that, aren't on the Cowboys. They're Cowboys standouts in training camp that are playing meaningful minutes in a game, making Baker Mayfield, a top 5 MVP candidate, not look like himself, So confidence is a crazy thing. And that goes back really to the playing on the road, playing at home, Denver's going to have a ton of confidence playing in that building. So that's another thing with it as well. But yeah, there's no doubt, Saad, just from, over the last few days, weeks, talking, whether you talk to Ferguson, was talking about yesterday, or Dak, like there is no question that Sean Emmerich talked about that they are like, if we just get to midfield, we got a shot. We're good, and how confident they are that, oh man, with these weapons, we can get to midfield. I don't know if we can get to the 35, but we can get to midfield and set him up for something,
I'm in a kicker pool where you're eliminated if you miss, and I'm scared to pick Brandon Aubrey just because I know how, the 68-yard attempt could be used at any time. Like you think, he's the best kicker in the league. Okay, he's going to be, but like for a pool like that, you want safety. So I just look for bad offenses and teams who aren't going to, hopefully score much.
I don't think Shoddy will just hunt for it just to get it for him.
Yeah,
I don't think that will happen because he could have possibly have done that the other night. So in terms of just like, hey, let's just march him out there and try and get this record, I don't think he'll do that. But to your point, especially like late in the half type thing, yeah, I could see them marching him out there for 70. Well, I mean, that kick he made Sunday afternoon, that thing's good from 75.
That's amazing. Never a doubt. Barely even warming up, just kind of getting out there, ready to rock. That was so fast.
Yeah, and then Brady was talking about how, like, because I did see Tom talking to him for a while before the Bears game in Chicago, and also, by the way, it just makes me laugh how many, and I know it shouldn't surprise me. I covered the team for 15 years, but just how many games I like. They're 3-3-1. It's just like Brady's calling this game, Tony the next one, like Brady again. You're just like, you're looking around like, there's no way Ronaldo's here for this game, really? Like, and then this game's the same way. This Denver game is Romo and Nance and all that. But anyway, he was talking to Aubrey for a little bit. I saw in the field, and he's talked about that, and he talked about it the other day when he was covering the game and saying about how like Brandon doesn't practice from anything like beyond 40 or 50. I don't know if that's completely true. Like maybe not in practice during the week, but like in pregame warmups and stuff like that, like he definitely tries 55, 60 yarders just to kind of get the wind down and see where things are going to be at. When we were at MetLife a few weeks ago, he was trying those before the game. And you could tell, like, when you're playing outside, those longer kicks like that wind is more of a factor, than when you're inside at AT&T Stadium,
Brady loves him some Brandon Aubrey.
He does.
I listened back to the broadcast after I did a rewatch of the game, and he compared him to Shohei Ohtani and Steph Curry. Both.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Brady could possibly give a ring or two to Adam Vinatieri. So, I mean, he knows about how important good kicking can be.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, boys. We'll catch up Sunday at some point after the game. If anything emergency-wise happens, we'll pop in with an emergency pod. Make sure you're following John and Saad over at The Athletic. In fact, I know they didn't do it, but I'm going to give John and Saad credit for the Athletics NFL playoff simulator. Right now, the Cowboys with a 26% chance to make the playoffs. Pretty fun to go in there and play with those teams, though, and move things around and just to see what's going to happen. It was good for my OCD soul. Started messing around a little bit.
You think that number's too high? Too low?
I think it's right for now, but I think things can change really quickly if you would just rattle off 3 straight wins.
Where does it go with a loss on Sunday for you?
Do you just pump it in there and see?
I would say 20% for me.
Loss takes it down to 19.
See?
I'm saying, though, you win against there, it'll drop you up to 39. So,
Whoa. A win in Denver to 39?
Let's be real here. We've been talking about how hard the schedule is going to get.
Yeah.
Take care of your business, all right? Let's not be wusses here. Let's beat the Broncos. Let's beat the Cardinals. We get the bye week. We come back. We beat the Raiders.
Win the bye week.
So that'd be 4 straight wins.
You got Max Crosby. You got Overshown. You got Cooper Beebe.
You kept George Pickens. You didn't sell. That gets you up to 55%.
Yeah. Can you plug that in? Plug Max Crosby in there and see what that number comes out at.
Dude, you need to talk to your boss about getting that tool out.
All right. I'll work on that.
Had to beat the Eagles, right? Because you lost them the first time. So 73%. A 5-game win streak gets you up to 73%.
One more thing on this Max Crosby deal. For me, I mean, everybody has, like I said about Cutler earlier, everybody has like their own players that they probably, hey, I like this guy a little bit more than this one, or you might like this player more than another. I'm talking if you take all players out of all the teams, and I'm just building a team for the next 3 or 4 years on defense, I don't know if there's more than maybe, 6 or 7 guys I'd want over Max Crosby. And there might not even be 5.
Yeah. He's a dog. He's a dog at a position that every team needs.
Right.
At a position where if you, even like, I'm not going back to whether you should or shouldn't have done Mike. I'm just saying you have that guy. You're not being talked about as a top 5 defense in football.
Yeah, you can take Micah above him. You can take Aiden Hutchinson. You can take Myles Garrett. I'm probably leaving another person or two out, but you don't get very far down that list before you get to Max Crosby.
For sure.
I bet you he's top 10 for Defensive Player of the Year voting.
Can I add one more thing too on the just the last week on? I know I'm trying to hustle here, but last week it was a lot of talk about Jaden Daniels struggling against man.
Struggling.
So we're gonna play a lot of man. You're not gonna have the convenience of that narrative this week with Bo Nix. We've got a guy who is about as good from a completion percentage perspective against man as he is against zone. It is a team that wants to run the ball. They want to get it to J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey and Tyler Beatty even. They'll let him get some run.
I just feel like if your zone was just bad, I can entertain conversations.
Yeah.
But when it's as bad as the Cowboys have looked in zone, where there's just guys just wide open, like just where, and then defenders after the pass is completed are just looking at each other like, wait, I thought you were going to get that, but no, I thought that you were going to get that. That I'm to the point where I don't care who they're playing. They have to, with their personnel and what they have to work with, they have to do what they did on Sunday. You have to blitz more. You have to play man. And I'm not saying that other teams aren't, they're going to know that. I'm not saying you do it every single play, but that has to be what the defense is built on. And it's not going to be great, but you can't allow it to be as bad as it was before. You can't just sit there and be like, yeah, but no, we have to go to a zone, so we balance this out every once in a while. Yeah, as soon as every team knows that you go to zone, they don't even have to have talented players out there. They're just completing passes to wide open holes in your zone. Like it can't happen.
Yeah, I agree.
If you were at least okay in zone, if you're like, yeah, we're better in man, but we're okay in zone, but we still got to play. You're terrible when you play zone. Terrible.
So bad.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Max Crosby could help that, though.
Hey, Bo Nix will make you look good sometimes. That was a pretty good fourth quarter he had.
It was a pretty good fourth
A little
quarter.
tough 3 quarters, though, against the Giants. All right, Saad, John, over at The Athletic, they created the playoff simulator. Go check it out. We'll catch up with you guys down the road. Go watch the paper if you guys get a chance. There's a lot of stuff going on. Paper's pretty good, everyone. I got one more episode to go. I like it. Just a 10-episode first season. It's the Office spinoff for those that don't know. All right, there he goes. And pour one out for Kent. He'll be back next week. John, Saad, Kent, I'm Kevin. We'll see you next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast. Goodbye.
You just don't understand football, Marge.
For over a century, Johnny Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereaux Golf, Johnny Walker introduces the Johnny Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, Blue Label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereaux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to JohnnyWalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly.